What are we talking about? I don't know if you guys play Final Fantasy 14, but there are a set of raids in this game that are called ultimates, which are basically the 3 most difficult fights in the game. And I'm just saying that a lot of people downplay people who clear ultimates nowadays versus because like two of the ultimates came out in Stormblood and one of them came out in Shadowbringers. And I think like a lot of the discussions around them is that like people go like, oh well, you cleared a 70s ultimate after Stormblood wasn't current content, and therefore it's not that impressive. And like in my opinion, I just think it's kind of cringe that people gatekeep achievements that way. And like my argument here is that it's like it's for sure easier now. It's for sure it's inarguable that it's easier. But like, is it so much easier now that like people now wouldn't be able to clear them? Like, no, of course not. Just get perfect legend. Yes. Yes, perfect legend. Ultimate legend, big PP title. Don't you tell me otherwise. When I get that shit, oh man, I'm gonna be lording my EPing.
Oh my god, did you hear that Xell is actually a perfect legend? Wow, so cool. So handsome.
That's what everyone's gonna be talking about. Perfect legend is cool, IMO, because it's way more prestige. Now that 70 ultis are easy. I feel like people who say that 70 ultis are easy are slightly over exaggerating it. I definitely understand that it's less difficult than where it was, but like I also think that it's still tougher than Savages. So yes, like less prestige, but like I do think some people talk about it like, oh yeah, like bruh, they let anybody clear ultimates these days. It's like, I don't know if that's true either. Again, this is Reddit, and like I think some of the people who talk on Reddit aren't actually good at the game, but they just talk about shit as if they were. And they're just like, damn, that guy didn't even clear Uwu in Stormblood. Ugh. Filth. You know, and I'm just like, bro, what the fuck? It's not like that shit's easy, you know? Yeah, it's just like the lack of DPS checks, and you can sometimes skip certain mechanics. But like, let's be real here. Like, Uwu, even if you saw all the mechanics in Uwu in like, I don't know, Garuda or Ifrit or like any of those phases, like it's still not that bad. When people say ultis are easy and have no clears, yeah, I get it. For people who did that content, you guys do deserve like big ups for that. Like, don't get me wrong. Like when you guys clear an ultimate as current content, I think that's awesome and you guys definitely deserve the praise. But I also think that it's kind of cringe when people are like, gatekeeping other people's achievements with that too. You know what I mean? Like, but that said, I do understand that it is easier. At least Uwu, like, I don't think the stats matter that much. That fight feels very much more of like, just do the mechanics or you die. And I don't know how much more HP and stuff. Like maybe the Titan Busters get a little spookier. Maybe I'm trying to think where else there's like a fuck ton of damage that goes out, but I'm not even accusing anybody here of being one of those gatekeepers that I'm talking about. I'm just a lot of this stuff that when people do talk about ultimates, this is kind of like where I feel like sometimes the conversation starts to head, is that like people go like, oh well, and again, I'm only saying this because I recently saw it on Reddit where people are downplaying people who clear ultimates when they're not current content, but yeah, I am also very curious what will happen when ultimates or when Endwalker comes out and how scaling will be affected. And yeah, but I guess like my point being is that like even the mechanics that you skip are like, what, you skip Garuda's donut into get out, like, I mean, whatever, right? Like if there was like a significant phase, like if you could skip, I don't know, suppression in Uwu, maybe I'd be like, okay, yeah, like it is way fucking easier. Or if you skip jails in Titan, I don't know if it's possible, but like those were the main points that like are difficult. And like skipping, even if you could skip primal roulette, right, it's like, so what, you know? Yeah, you can skip Ifrit dashes, but like Ifrit dashes aren't hard. Like you literally, so the mechanics that you skip are like insignificant in my opinion. And the fact is that you're strategizing to beat Ifrit to control the dashes, right? So like ideally the dashes are never a problem anyways. Now if someone told me that they blind progged Uwu, like, man, I don't give a fuck. I think skipping, if you're trying to argue that like Stormblood was way harder because we had to deal with homing lasers with one involved rather than two, I think it's overblowing it. I think like That doesn't make the fight infinitely harder. I don't even know if it makes it a lot easier. I like that's so this is my point though, is that like when people talk about like, oh, clearing it in Stormblood versus in Shadowbringers, like, don't get me wrong, again, I do think it's easier, but like I think people overblow how much more difficult or easy it is. Like, I think it's for sure easier. There is less damage that you have to worry about. I really don't think that like it's so much easier to the point where you go like, oh yeah, ooh is just easy now. I don't even know if it makes it a lot easier. I like that's so this is my point though, is that like when people talk about like, oh, clearing it in Stormblood versus in Shadowbringers, like, don't get me wrong, again, I do think it's easier, but like I think people overblow how much more difficult or easy it is. Like, truth is, if you could clear 70 ults now, you could probably clear them then. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Because I really don't think that the things that are happening mechanically in Uwu is like so different that like, oh man, you couldn't even wrap your head around doing homing lasers with one invul, you know what I mean? Again, it's not about ultimates are being impossible, right? It's not that at all. It's just that when people are talking about like clearing ultimates, it's not that different, is my point. It's different, but it's not that different. I just think my point here is that I think gatekeeping this shit is really cringe, right? Like, I think people who gatekeep achievements are some of the most cringe things that are on the internet, and I guess because of like what I've been seeing with Asmon's stream, I feel like there's been a lot more of that and like needle dicking people online, and yeah. I just think in general that kind of gatekeeping, there's no place for that. It's tough content. Yeah, like, dude, Savage is hard, right? Like I can pull the standard down, and like people should still feel like they achieved something, right? Because like that's kind of the point, is like achievements aren't this thing that like are globally recognized as like an achievement thing. Like, oh, you can only feel good about clearing an ultimate if you do it with your butt cheeks. That's the only way you should feel good about. It's like, well, no, like, you cleared what's considered a hard thing in general anyways. You should just feel good about it, right? Like, yeah, like, oh, black, yeah, you only get props if you can clear black mage or ultimates on black mage and parse at an orange. It's like, well, no. Just no. Is that a challenge? Dude, if you can clear T or Uwu or whatever with your butt cheeks, my fucking god, dude. My fucking god. You deserve everything. There should be a new title just for that person called like the ultimate ass legend. Oh my god, that would be the best title of all time. Asmon already achieved more than a majority of players who started post Heavensward by minimum eye level coils. Yeah, true. And sure, he has a semi-stacked group, and like, dude, he did it. He did it. I never understood people not celebrating something genuinely challenging solely because a lot of people did it. Yeah. Yeah. It's again, the best word for it is just, it's cringe. I'm trying to think of like the easiest way someone would be looked down on for clearing an ultimate. Like, let's say Asmon clears an ultimate with 7 other people who have already cleared ultimates, you know, whatever. I still think Asmon should be like, I cleared an ultimate, you know? That's a fucking great thing. That's a fucking great thing. And like, who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck? And the people who are going to lord over the fact that, oh, you didn't clear it during current content, or you didn't do it with a fresh group, or I don't know, your BIS level is higher than what it used to be. Like, literally don't care. The metrics for measuring how good a player is in this game just aren't really something that's easily measurable, right? I think it stems from wanting to take away the achievement of legend. People who maybe don't have it basically get an opportunity to say, see, he's bad even though he's legend. Yes. It's people who have the legend title who want to feel good about their achievement, but because they see other people with that achievement that they feel is undeserving, they feel like it's an affront to their character. That's the real root of where this gatekeeping comes from. 100% just that.